What if the person you were forced to marry turned out to be the one who would change your life forever? In a world of corporate power plays and family rivalries, two strangers, Ethan Sterling, a cold and calculating CEO, and Clara Hawthorne, a fiercely independent designer, are thrust into an arranged marriage neither of them wanted. But what begins as a battle of wills soon transforms into a journey of love, redemption, and self-discovery. From fiery confrontations to heartfelt confessions, their story is filled with twists, betrayals, and moments that will make your heart race. Can two people, bound by duty, find a way to build a life together? Or will the ghosts of their pasts tear them apart? Stay with us as we unravel a tale of passion, ambition, and the power of love to heal even the most guarded hearts. This is not just a love story, it's a story of transformation, proving that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most beautiful endings. Two major corporations, Sterling Enterprises and Hawthorne Group, have dominated the tech industry for the past 40 years. Both are renowned for their groundbreaking innovations in technology development and software solutions, but they are equally infamous for the bitter rivalry between their founding families. Their fierce competition has shaped the industry, but now both companies face a common threat: the rise of young, agile startups that are more creative and adaptable. In the face of this challenge, the two families decide to do the unthinkable: merge their power through an arranged marriage between their heirs. Ethan Sterling, the young and ambitious CEO of Sterling Enterprises, is a cold, calculating man who doesn't believe in love. To him, this marriage is nothing more than a joke, and he vows never to accept it. On the other hand, Clara Hawthorne, a talented UI/UX designer, reluctantly agrees to the arrangement out of a sense of duty to her family. Clara has no desire to be part of corporate schemes, but she knows that refusing the marriage could cost her family the chance to save their company. Their first meeting takes place during a tense family gathering. Ethan, with his arrogant demeanor, wastes no time showing his disdain for Clara, dismissing her as a pawn in a power game. Though hurt by his words, Clara remains composed and fires back with a sharp response. "I'm not a tool for you to use. If you don't want this marriage, then tell your family directly instead of taking it out on me." The story begins with a burning question. Can two people who are complete opposites find true love? Or will this simply be a failed business deal? The tension between Ethan Sterling and Clara Hawthorne is palpable from the very beginning. Ethan makes it clear that he has no intention of treating Clara as anything more than a business arrangement. To him, she is just another piece in the chess game of corporate power. His cold, dismissive attitude cuts deep, but Clara refuses to let him see her pain. Ethan's arrogance is on full display during a high-profile press event where both families announce their partnership. As Clara stands by his side, trying to maintain a professional demeanor, Ethan deliberately undermines her in front of the media. When asked about the marriage, he smirks and says, "This is purely a strategic decision. Love has nothing to do with it." Clara feels humiliated but keeps her composure. Later that evening, she confronts Ethan in private, her voice steady but firm. "I agreed to this marriage for my family, not for you. If you think you can treat me like a pawn, you're mistaken. I won't let you walk all over me." Ethan, unfazed, simply shrugs and walks away, leaving Clara fuming. Despite the rocky start, Clara tries to focus on her work as a UI/UX designer. She throws herself into a major project for Hawthorne Group, designing an innovative interface for a new software product. Her dedication and talent begin to catch the attention of others in the industry, but Ethan remains indifferent. Ethan, meanwhile, is grappling with his own frustrations. He never wanted this marriage, and he resents being forced into it by his family. To him, Clara represents everything he despises about the corporate world: manipulation, control, and sacrifice of personal freedom. He convinces himself that keeping his distance from her is the best way to maintain his independence. But Ethan can't help but notice Clara's quiet strength. During a board meeting, she confidently presents her design concepts for the new software interface, impressing even the most skeptical executives. Ethan watches from the corner of the room, surprised by her poise and professionalism. For a brief moment, he wonders if he's underestimated her. Still, his pride won't allow him to admit it. Instead, he doubles down on his cold demeanor, determined to keep her at arm's length. The situation becomes even more complicated with the arrival of Vanessa Carter, Ethan's ex-girlfriend and a high-profile tech investor. Vanessa is beautiful, cunning, and clearly still interested in Ethan. She wastes no time inserting herself into his life, making it obvious to Clara that she sees her as nothing more than an obstacle. Vanessa's presence stirs up old feelings in Ethan, and he begins spending more time with her, further alienating Clara. At a corporate gala, Vanessa openly mocks Clara, saying, "It must be hard, being married to someone who doesn't even want you." Clara, though hurt, refuses to let Vanessa see her falter. She responds with quiet confidence. "It must be harder, knowing he didn't choose you either." The exchange leaves Vanessa fuming, but it also catches Ethan's attention. For the first time, he sees a glimpse of Clara's resilience and wit. Clara, however, is struggling to maintain her composure. The constant tension with Ethan, combined with Vanessa's interference, is taking a toll on her. She begins to question whether agreeing to this marriage was a mistake. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, Clara finds herself alone in her office, staring at her computer screen. She's been working tirelessly on the software interface project, but the weight of her personal struggles is starting to affect her focus. Her best friend and colleague, Mia, notices her distress and offers some words of encouragement. "Clara, you've always been the strongest person I know. Don't let Ethan or anyone else make you doubt yourself. You're more than capable of handling this." Mia's support gives Clara the strength to keep going. She resolves to prove her worth not just to Ethan, but to herself. The tension between Ethan and Clara finally reaches a boiling point during a private dinner arranged by their families. Ethan, frustrated by the pressure from his parents, accuses Clara of trying to use the marriage to advance her career. "You think I don't see what you're doing?" he says, his voice cold. "You're just using this marriage as a stepping stone to make a name for yourself." Clara, furious, fires back. "You think I need you to succeed? I've worked hard for everything I have, and I won't let you or anyone else take that away from me." Her words hit Ethan harder than he expected. For the first time, he begins to see Clara not as a pawn, but as a person with her own dreams and struggles. Despite their heated argument, something shifts between them. Ethan starts to notice the little things about Clara, the way she lights up when talking about her work, the quiet determination in her eyes, and the kindness she shows to those around her. But his pride and lingering feelings for Vanessa keep him from admitting it. Instead, he retreats further into his cold exterior, leaving Clara to wonder if there's any hope for their relationship. The initial conflict sets the stage for a tumultuous relationship, with both Ethan and Clara struggling to navigate their forced partnership while dealing with their own insecurities and the interference of others. The icy wall between Ethan Sterling and Clara Hawthorne begins to crack, though neither of them realizes it at first. Their relationship, once defined by hostility and indifference, starts to shift as they are forced to spend more time together. Small, unexpected moments begin to reveal sides of each other they hadn't seen before. Clara's work on the new software interface for Hawthorne Group becomes a major success. Her innovative design, which focuses on user accessibility and seamless navigation, garners praise from both her colleagues and industry leaders. During a joint board meeting between Sterling Enterprises and Hawthorne Group, Clara presents her final prototype. Ethan, sitting at the head of the table, watches as Clara confidently explains her vision. Her passion for her work is evident, and even the most skeptical executives are impressed. For the first time, Ethan feels a twinge of admiration for her. After the meeting, one of Sterling Enterprises' senior developers approaches Clara and says, "Your design is brilliant. It's exactly what we need to stay ahead of the competition. Ethan overhears the conversation and, though he doesn't say anything, he can't help but feel a sense of pride in Clara's accomplishment. One evening, Ethan and Clara are invited to a charity gala hosted by a mutual business partner. The event is meant to showcase their united front as a couple, but the tension between them is still evident. During the gala, Clara steps outside for some fresh air. She's overwhelmed by the constant pressure to maintain appearances and the lingering sting of Ethan's coldness. Ethan, noticing her absence, follows her outside. For the first time, they have a genuine conversation. Clara, tired of pretending, admits, "I never wanted this marriage, Ethan, but I agreed to it because I thought it was the right thing to do for my family. Now I'm not so sure." Ethan, caught off guard by her honesty, responds quietly, "You're not the only one who feels trapped, Clara. I didn't choose this either." For a brief moment, their shared vulnerability creates a connection. Though the conversation is short, it marks the beginning of a shift in their dynamic. Meanwhile, Vanessa Carter continues to meddle in Ethan and Clara's relationship. She uses her charm and influence to stay close to Ethan, but her true intentions are far from innocent. Ethan begins to notice inconsistencies in Vanessa's behavior. She starts asking pointed questions about Sterling Enterprises' upcoming projects, and her interest in his business seems more strategic than personal. One day, Ethan discovers that Vanessa has been leaking confidential information about Sterling Enterprises to a rival company. Furious, he confronts her. "You used me," he says, his voice cold. "This was never about us. It was about what you could gain." Vanessa, unapologetic, smirks and replies, "You're right, Ethan. But don't act so innocent. You've been using people your whole life. Maybe it's time you got a taste of your own medicine." The betrayal leaves Ethan shaken. For the first time, he begins to question his own actions and the way he's treated Clara. Around the same time, Clara has a chance encounter with one of Sterling Enterprises' junior employees, Mark, who is struggling with a personal issue. Mark confides in Clara about his difficulties balancing work and family, and Clara offers him kind words of encouragement. Ethan happens to witness the interaction and is struck by Clara's genuine compassion. It's a stark contrast to the cutthroat mentality he's grown accustomed to in the corporate world. Later that evening, Ethan approaches Clara and says, "I saw what you did for Mark. You didn't have to help him, but you did. Why?" Clara looks at him and replies simply, "Because sometimes people just need someone to believe in them." Her words linger with Ethan, forcing him to reflect on his own behavior. The real turning point comes during a business trip to a remote tech conference. Ethan and Clara are scheduled to present a joint keynote speech about the future of AI-driven software. However, a sudden storm forces their flight to be canceled, and they are stranded at a small, isolated hotel. With no distractions and nowhere to go, Ethan and Clara are forced to spend the evening together. At first, the atmosphere is tense, but as the hours pass, they begin to open up to each other. Clara shares stories about her childhood, revealing her struggles to prove herself in a family that always prioritized business over personal dreams. She talks about how her passion for design became her escape, and how she's always felt like she had to fight to be taken seriously. Ethan, in turn, admits that his cold exterior is a defense mechanism. Growing up as the heir to Sterling Enterprises, he always felt the weight of expectations on his shoulders. He confesses, "I've spent my whole life trying to live up to my family's legacy. Somewhere along the way, I forgot how to be anything else." For the first time, they see each other not as rivals or obligations, but as two people carrying the weight of their family's expectations. The next morning, as the storm clears, Ethan surprises Clara with a small but meaningful gesture. He brings her a cup of coffee, prepared exactly the way she likes it. Something he noticed during their time together. Clara is taken aback by the thoughtfulness of the gesture. It's a small moment, but it signifies a shift in their relationship. As they return to the conference and deliver their keynote speech, their newfound understanding of each other is evident. Their chemistry on stage impresses the audience, and for the first time, they feel like a team. Over the next few weeks, Ethan begins to see Clara in a new light. He notices her dedication to her work, her kindness toward others, and her quiet strength. Slowly but surely, his feelings for her begin to change. Clara, however, remains cautious. While she appreciates Ethan's efforts, she is not ready to let her guard down completely. She's been hurt too many times to trust him fully just yet. The relationship between Ethan Sterling and Clara Hawthorne has shifted significantly, but the road to understanding and trust is far from smooth. Just as they begin to find common ground, new challenges arise, pushing their fragile connection to its breaking point. Despite being exposed for her betrayal, Vanessa Carter isn't ready to give up. She sees Clara as the reason Ethan has started to change, and she's determined to drive a wedge between them. Vanessa leaks a false story to the media, claiming that Clara only married Ethan to gain access to Sterling Enterprises' resources for her own career. The story spreads quickly, and Clara is blindsided when reporters bombard her with questions about her hidden agenda. Ethan, too, is caught off guard, but instead of defending Clara, he hesitates. His silence feels like a betrayal to Clara, who had hoped that Ethan would stand by her side. Later that evening, Clara confronts Ethan in his office. Her voice trembles with anger and hurt as she says, "You could have stopped this, Ethan. You could have told them the truth, but instead, you let them believe I'm some kind of opportunist." Ethan, torn between his pride and his growing feelings for Clara, struggles to respond. "I didn't know what to say," he admits. "I didn't want to make things worse." Clara shakes her head, her eyes filled with disappointment. "You didn't want to make things worse for yourself. I thought you were starting to change, Ethan, but maybe I was wrong." She walks out, leaving Ethan alone with his guilt. The media storm takes a toll on Clara, but she refuses to let it derail her work. She throws herself into her next project, determined to prove her worth on her own terms. However, the constant scrutiny and Ethan's lack of support weigh heavily on her. One evening, Clara receives a call from her best friend Mia, who encourages her to take a step back and prioritize her own well-being. "Clara, you've done everything you can to make this work. Maybe it's time to focus on yourself for a change." Mia's words resonate with Clara, and she begins to consider leaving the marriage altogether. Meanwhile, Ethan is forced to confront his own feelings. He begins to realize that his hesitation to defend Clara wasn't just about protecting himself. It was about fear. For the first time in his life, he cares deeply about someone, and the thought of losing her terrifies him. Ethan confides in his closest friend and business partner, Ryan, who doesn't hold back. "You're an idiot, Ethan," Ryan says bluntly. "Clara's the best thing that's ever happened to you, and you're too scared to admit it. If you don't fix this, you're going to lose her." Ethan knows Ryan is right. He decides it's time to take action, but he's not sure if it's already too late. As Ethan grapples with his feelings, Clara achieves a major milestone in her career. Her latest project, a groundbreaking software interface designed to improve accessibility for users with disabilities, is featured in a prominent tech magazine. The article praises Clara's vision and innovation, calling her one of the brightest minds in the industry. The recognition is bittersweet for Clara. While she's proud of her accomplishment, she can't help but feel the absence of Ethan's support. At the same time, Ethan reads the article and feels a surge of pride for Clara. He realizes just how much he's taken her for granted and decides it's time to make things right. Ethan plans a grand gesture to show Clara how much she means to him. He organizes a private event at a tech innovation center where he unveils a surprise, a fully functional prototype of a new app he's been secretly developing, inspired by Clara's work. The app, designed to complement Clara's accessibility software, is a testament to her influence on him. Ethan invites Clara to the event, and when she arrives, she's stunned by what she sees. Ethan steps forward and addresses the small audience, which includes Clara's colleagues and industry leaders. This app wouldn't exist without Clara Hawthorne. Her vision, her passion, and her dedication have inspired me in ways I never thought possible. Clara, I owe you more than an apology. I owe you my gratitude and my heart. The room falls silent as Ethan turns to Clara and says, I've been a fool, Clara. I let my pride and my fear get in the way of seeing what was right in front of me. You're not just my partner in business, you're my partner in life. If you'll give me another chance, I promise to spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worthy of you. Clara, overwhelmed by the gesture and Ethan's heartfelt words, takes a moment to process everything. Finally, she steps forward and says, You've hurt me, Ethan, but you've also shown me that you're capable of change. I'm willing to try if you are. The audience erupts into applause as Ethan and Clara share a quiet, emotional moment. In the aftermath of Ethan's public declaration, Vanessa's influence begins to crumble. Her role in leaking false information about Clara is exposed, and she's blacklisted from several major tech firms. Ethan and Clara, now united, make it clear that they won't tolerate manipulation or dishonesty in their lives. Vanessa's departure marks the end of a toxic chapter, allowing them to focus on building a future together. The emotional climax concludes with Ethan and Clara taking their first steps toward a genuine partnership. They decide to renew their vows, this time on their own terms. The ceremony is small and intimate, attended only by close friends and family. During the vows, Ethan says, Clara, you've taught me what it means to love and to be loved. I promise to stand by your side, to support your dreams, and to never take you for granted again. Clara responds, Ethan, you've shown me that even the most stubborn hearts can change. I promise to trust you, to believe in you, and to build a life with you that's built on love, not obligation. The ceremony ends with a sense of hope and renewal, symbolizing the start of a new chapter in their lives. With their relationship renewed, Ethan Sterling and Clara Hawthorne embark on a journey of rebuilding trust and creating a life together that is no longer dictated by their families or corporate obligations. However, the road to redemption is not without its challenges. Both Ethan and Clara must confront their past mistakes, learn to communicate openly, and navigate the complexities of balancing love and ambition. Ethan is determined to prove to Clara that he's changed. He begins by making significant changes in his personal and professional life. At work, he adopts a more collaborative leadership style, encouraging input from his team and showing genuine appreciation for their efforts. One of his first major decisions is to implement Clara's accessibility software across all Sterling Enterprises platforms. The move is met with widespread praise, not only for its innovation, but also for its commitment to inclusivity. Ethan publicly credits Clara for the idea, saying in an interview, This project wouldn't have been possible without Clara Hawthorne. Her vision has not only transformed our company, but also inspired me to be a better leader. Privately, Ethan works on becoming more emotionally available. He starts attending therapy sessions to address his fear of vulnerability and his tendency to push people away. During one session, he admits, I've spent my whole life trying to prove I'm strong, but I've realized that real strength comes from letting people in. Clara notices the changes in Ethan and begins to let her guard down. While she's still cautious, she can't deny that he's making an effort to become the man she always believed he could be. Clara, too, undergoes her own journey of growth. For years, she's struggled with the pressure to prove herself in a world that often undervalues women in leadership roles. Now, with Ethan's support, she feels more confident in her abilities. She decides to launch her own startup, a design firm focused on creating user-friendly technology for underserved communities. Ethan offers to invest in the company, but Clara declines, wanting to build it on her own terms. I appreciate your support, Ethan, but this is something I need to do for myself, she tells him. Ethan respects her decision and becomes her biggest cheerleader, attending her pitch presentations and celebrating her successes. Clara's startup quickly gains traction, and she's invited to speak at a major tech conference. During her keynote speech, she shares her journey of overcoming doubt and finding her voice. For a long time, I thought I had to prove my worth to others, but I've learned that true success comes from believing in yourself and staying true to your values. Her speech receives a standing ovation, and Ethan, watching from the audience, feels an overwhelming sense of pride. Despite their progress, Ethan and Clara face new challenges as they navigate their relationship. Their busy schedules often leave little time for each other, and old insecurities occasionally resurface. One evening, after a particularly stressful week, Clara expresses her frustration. "I feel like we're falling back into old patterns, Ethan. We're so focused on work that we're forgetting about us." Ethan, recognizing the truth in her words, suggests they take a weekend off to reconnect. They retreat to a quiet cabin in the mountains where they spend time hiking, cooking together, and simply enjoying each other's company. During the trip, Ethan surprises Clara with a heartfelt gesture, a scrapbook filled with photos and mementos from their journey together. On the last page, he's written, "This is just the beginning of our story. I promise to keep writing it with you, one chapter at a time." The gesture reminds Clara of how far they've come and strengthens her resolve to make their relationship a priority. One of the biggest hurdles Ethan and Clara must overcome is their family's lingering influence. Both the Sterling and Hawthorne families have high expectations for the couple, often pressuring them to prioritize business over their personal lives. During a tense family dinner, Ethan finally stands up to his parents. "I've spent my whole life trying to live up to your expectations, but I'm done letting you dictate my choices. Clara and I are building a life together, and that's what matters most to me now." Clara, inspired by Ethan's courage, also confronts her family. She tells them, "I love you, but I need you to respect my decisions. My marriage and my career are my own, and I won't let anyone take that away from me." Their united front sends a clear message to both families. Ethan and Clara are no longer pawns in a corporate game. They are partners in every sense of the word. As their relationship continues to grow, Ethan and Clara discover a shared passion for using technology to make a positive impact. They decide to collaborate on a joint project, a platform that connects small businesses with affordable tech solutions. The project becomes a labor of love, combining Ethan's business acumen with Clara's design expertise. Working together brings them closer, and they find joy in creating something meaningful as a team. During the platform's launch event, Ethan gives a speech that reflects their journey. This project is more than just a business venture. It's a symbol of what can be achieved when two people come together with a shared purpose. "Clara, you've taught me that the greatest success comes from working with the people you love." Clara, moved by his words, adds, "And you've shown me that even the most ambitious dreams are possible when you have someone who believes in you." The platform's success cements their reputation as a power couple in the tech industry, but more importantly, it strengthens their bond as partners in life. The redemption journey concludes with Ethan and Clara reflecting on how far they've come. Sitting on the balcony of their home, overlooking the city skyline, they talk about their hopes for the future. "Do you think we'll ever stop surprising each other?" Clara asks with a smile. Ethan takes her hand and replies, "I hope not. That's what makes this worth it." As they watch the sunset, it's clear that their journey is far from over. But for the first time, they face the future with confidence, knowing that they've built a foundation of love, trust, and mutual respect. Years have passed since Ethan Sterling and Clara Hawthorne first entered into their arranged marriage, and their journey has transformed from one of obligation to a partnership built on love, trust, and shared dreams. The epilogue offers a glimpse into their lives as they reflect on how far they've come and the legacy they're building together. Ethan and Clara's joint platform, which connects small businesses with affordable tech solutions, has grown into a global success. The project has not only revolutionized the industry, but also cemented their reputation as innovators and leaders. Clara's design firm has also flourished, earning her numerous awards and recognition as one of the most influential women in tech. Despite her success, she remains humble, always crediting her team and the people who believed in her along the way. Ethan, now a more compassionate and collaborative leader, has transformed Sterling Enterprises into a company that values innovation and inclusivity. His decision to implement Clara's accessibility software across all platforms has become a benchmark for other corporations, proving that profitability and social responsibility can go hand in hand. Together, Ethan and Clara have become a power couple, admired not just for their professional achievements, but for the love and respect they share. The epilogue also reveals a more personal side of their lives. Ethan and Clara are now parents to a young daughter, Lila, who has inherited her mother's creativity and her father's determination. One evening, as they sit in their living room watching Lila draw on her tablet, Clara smiles and says, "She's going to change the world one day, just like her dad." Ethan chuckles and replies, "Or like her mom. Either way, she's got the best role model." Their family life is filled with laughter, love, and the occasional chaos that comes with raising a child. Despite their busy schedules, Ethan and Clara make it a priority to spend quality time together, ensuring that their daughter grows up in a home filled with warmth and support. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Ethan surprises Clara with a trip to the same mountain cabin where they first began to open up to each other. As they sit by the fireplace, reminiscing about their journey, Ethan takes Clara's hand and says, "I used to think that love was a weakness, something that made you vulnerable, but you've shown me that it's the greatest strength of all. You've made me a better man, Clara, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of you." Clara, her eyes filled with tears, responds, "And you've shown me that even the most guarded hearts can learn to love. I'm proud of the life we've built together, Ethan. I wouldn't trade it for anything." Their conversation is a testament to the growth they've experienced, both as individuals and as a couple. The epilogue concludes with a glimpse into the future. Ethan and Clara, now mentors to the next generation of entrepreneurs and designers, use their platform to inspire others to pursue their dreams and make a positive impact on the world. At a charity gala they co-host, Clara gives a speech that encapsulates their journey. Success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about the lives you touch along the way. Ethan and I have learned that the greatest legacy we can leave is one of love, compassion, and innovation. We hope to inspire others to do the same. As the audience applauds, Ethan looks at Claire with pride, knowing that their story is far from over. Together, they've built a life that is not only fulfilling, but also meaningful, proving that even the most unlikely beginnings can lead to something extraordinary. The story ends with Ethan, Clara, and Lila walking hand in hand through a park, the sun setting behind them. As Lila runs ahead to chase butterflies, Ethan turns to Clara and says, "I never imagined that an arranged marriage would lead to this, a life filled with love, laughter, and purpose. Thank you for believing in me, even when I didn't deserve it." Clara smiles and replies, "And thank you for proving that even the most stubborn hearts can change. I love you, Ethan." As they share a quiet moment, watching their daughter play, it's clear that their love has not only endured, but grown stronger with time.